I don't think that they want to go get a journal and then write down in the journal as the first conversation, like, I feel like maybe you're struggling at school, and that be the first. So, what are some ways, how can they get that process started? What's the first
Um,
conversation?
so it could be anything. It could just be where they may just write a quote. Um, it could be something that they've noticed that that person has done really well and just praising them.
That really is, that's such a cool idea, though, especially about those topics that are more difficult. Because I think that so many times parents want to have conversations, but they also don't want to, they don't want their child to feel like they're hovering or that they're just all up in their business or anything like that. They really want it to be an open conversation, and parents really do desire that with their kid. But to be able to write it down in a journal would be so great. Can you choose to not write back about a thing?
Yeah. So you can, and I mean, it's really whatever you want it to look like. I mean, you can even choose to not respond in words and draw a picture. Sometimes silence speaks larger than words,
Mm.
whether said or written. So that, in a way, is still communicating a need or something that they feel. There are a lot of different ways that you can do it in my head because it's really per person or per family. But you can set your own limitations on it. You can have a journal for any emotion if you want to, or a different topic. Um, and the thought process is both people would check it at least once a day.
Okay.
Now you can check it more, but you would check it at least once a day. If it gets to a point where you just feel like you've said what you needed to and that conversation or topic is done, you can end that. If you feel like it reaches a point where you want to talk about it in person, you can do that. So it kind of helps, I feel like, bridge that gap of miscommunication or no communication.
So many times, again, parents want to jump right in and get right to the heart of whatever's going on. And it takes
Mhm.
time to get there, especially if you're new with having deep conversations with kids. As therapists, we get to do that all the time. But even us, it takes us 6 sessions or so before we've really got that rapport where it's like, hey, you really can tell me whatever. And I say 6 sessions is like a starter tough conversation. When you get into those deep traumatic conversations or the really taboo topics, it can take months or a year um, before you've really got that rapport built where they can say everything that they want to say. So I think the journal, like you said, it's so much better than no conversation. And it might not be everything that that parent wants the conversation to be, but is it a step better in communicating with your child than it was before?
Both for therapists and adults, we're fixers. Our instinct is to fix. And a lot of times they don't want us to fix it. They just want to be heard and they want to just us to just listen. And so even if they are writing in the journal and they're writing everything that they feel, it doesn't necessarily mean that that has to have a response. It's just, I can't say this out loud. I'm a lot more comfortable saying this on paper, and I don't really need you to respond. Just know that this is how I'm feeling. I think them feel like they can advocate for themselves in a way and give a voice when maybe otherwise they haven't felt like they've had a voice.
Yeah.
So
The parent gets concerned, and then the child hasn't really even been talked to about all this stuff that's going on. So I do think that there needs to be much better open communication. And I think open communication looks much different where it's um, you are allowed to check in with me, I'm allowed to check in with you. You can bring concerns to me, I can bring concerns to you. Parents really do desire that with their kid. But to be able to write it down in a journal would be so great, especially with adolescents and teenagers as they're growing and kind of becoming their own person.